Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Carefully Speaking with me, your host, Dr. Jamila. I am so glad that you are here. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And if you have been listening since the beginning, then you know that this isn't just a podcast. It's a space for honest conversations, for gentle truths, and for reminders that you are not alone. I started Carefully Speaking because I believe that healing, clarity, and community begins with truth telling, even when the truth is hard, especially when the truth is hard. And my goal has always been to speak carefully, not just carefully as in gentle, but care fully, as in full of care. Hence the name of the podcast. Full of care for you, for me, for all of us who are navigating life, navigating family, navigating relationships, navigating work, navigating society, navigating healing, and navigating growth. And I do bring to this space over 20 years of experience. I've worked with children, adults, families, and communities. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a doctor of social work. But most importantly, I'm also a mother of two incredible children who keep me grounded in the very truths that I talk about here. So this episode is actually very special. It is episode 9. And it is also the 9th month of the year, right? So we're now in the month of September. And that may not seem like a huge milestone to some people, but for me, maybe even for you too, it's a reminder that even in the middle of chaos, even in the middle of commitments, healing, parenting, we are all still showing up. So today, we are launching a new series for the month of September. Because September is a month of transitions, right? It's a month of adjustments, back to school, back to routines, maybe even back to ourselves. It's a season where new beginnings start to quietly unfold, but it also asks us to face what has been ending. The summer stretch is over. The refrigerator door is no longer a 24-hour buffet. And the emotional and physical energy that it took to survive the summer, especially as parents and caregivers, all of that is now starting to settle. But now what? Well, let's talk about it. The truth about fall transitions. Let's be real. Fall doesn't just magically make life easier. Yes, the kids are back in school. And maybe even you might be back in school. But your mind, your body, your calendar, they are all still running a marathon that you never actually signed up for. There is this quiet assumption that once September hits, everything else just falls into place. But for many of us, this is actually when the invisible labor starts to ramp up. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the drop-offs, the pickups, the forgotten water bottles, the back-to-school nights, the emails, the the apps that you need to sign up for, the endless registration links, the snacks, the technology checks, the hair, the hair that needs to be brushed and combed and cut, even when the bus is outside. You are trying to get your own work done too. Or maybe you're just trying to rest. And yet there is always something else to do or to think about. Did I forget to pack that lunch? Did I sign that form? Did I call the pediatrician about the next appointment? Let me remind you, invisible labor is still labor. We may not see the costs and effects of it, but it's still there. Just because you can juggle it, just because you can manage it, doesn't mean that you should always have to do it alone. And just because you're used to doing it, doesn't mean that it's okay to be exhausted. So what do we do with all that exhaustion? Well, we start small. And one of the most powerful ways to reclaim peace in your homes and in yourselves is through boundaries. Not harsh rules, but loving rhythms that protect your energy. So let's talk about boundaries, right? Because back to school doesn't just mean backpacks, pencils, and packed lunches. It means reclaiming that rhythm that I was talking about, the rhythm that cannot exist without your boundaries. And I'll say that one more time. Rhythm cannot exist without boundaries. After a summer of revolving doors, screens, and endless snack raising, your household and even your heart might be craving just a little bit more structure, even if nobody's going to say it out loud. So summers, they do tend to dissolve some boundaries, right? Bedtimes start to drift away. Snack times become anytime. Screens turn into babysitters. And let's be honest, we all survive how we need to survive. There's no shame in that. But this September, this is your invitation not to become a drill sergeant, but also not to become a passive participant in your life, but to become a loving anchor in your home, in your predictability, in your order, and in your rest. So I want to give you 3 boundary reminders that matter more than you think. Number 1, I call this one the screen reset. So this isn't about being strict. It's about being sane. I will admit, screens do offer convenience. Yes, they do. But they can also suck the energy and oxygen out of true human connection. And after a long summer of hearing just one more episode, or can I have the iPad for 5 more minutes? It is time to breathe again. So I say, start with something small. Maybe an unplug hour after school. In my household, that unplug hour is 7 p.m., right? And that's where the home becomes quiet, the kids decompress, and the nervous systems start to come back online. It's not a punishment, but it is a protection. It's a part of your nervous system hygiene. And it's a signal to you, to your children, that stillness is not the same as boredom. And that presence is a muscle that we all need to start stretching again. Number 2, the second boundary that I like to call is the snack pause, right? So this is the 7-Eleven syndrome, right? Where the kitchen becomes a 24-hour convenience store and your pantry is constantly being raided. But your home is not a 24/7 drive-through. So consider reintroducing snack windows, not as a control, but as care. Because children, and yes, adults, actually thrive when they know what to expect and what not to expect. So maybe it's a snack right after school and then again before bed, but not in between. And maybe, just maybe, the fridge gets closed at a certain hour, just like the school cafeteria does. Think about it. The school cafeteria completely shuts down. All the food is taken away, all the gates are closed, the doors are closed, the lights are off, and nobody is allowed to go back. Why can't we have that same kind of boundary at home, right? Boundaries around food are not just about nutrition, they are about trust and they are about containment. When your kids know what's coming and what's not coming, they stop testing the waters, right? They stop trying to straddle the fence, and you stop feeling like a human vending machine. Number 3, the third boundary is the calendar check-in. So here's the truth. You and I both know that your week is already likely full before you've even said yes to anything. Your calendar is probably full till the end of the school year. If you're anybody like me, I have already looked at every day, every holiday, and I've already calendared them in, right? I'm asking you to sit down every Sunday if you can and look at your week ahead. Maybe even look at a couple of weeks ahead and ask yourself these key questions. What is urgent? What is necessary? What can wait? And what can go? If it can be rescheduled, go ahead and reschedule it. If it can be postponed, if it can be delegated to someone else, then go ahead and do that. This is your reminder that you do not need to say yes to everything simply because it's fall and the school year is starting. You don't have to register for another sport. You don't need to RSVP to every event. You don't need to volunteer for the committee just because no one else has. Sometimes the most radical thing you can put on your calendar is nothing at all. And so I want to say this final note on boundaries. Boundaries are not punishments. They are emotional seatbelts. Think about that, right? They keep you and your home safe. They keep your energy safe. And they keep your family from crashing into a burnout. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to be consistent in your love and in your rhythms. And you need to be honest about what you can and cannot hold on to for this season. So, as we close out this 9th episode and step into this new season, I want to leave you with one final reminder about what it means to return to rhythm without rushing yourself in the process. You don't need to do everything. You really don't. You have permission to be tired. You have permission to not sign up for the PTA this year. You have permission to say, we're not doing extracurriculars this fall. You have permission not to pack those Pinterest-worthy lunches and to eat whatever you have. Most of all, you have permission to grieve a little. Because transitions are just that. They are changes. They are adjustments. And they are things that we don't always expect, but they can be emotional. Think about it. You're watching your kids grow every single day. And maybe you're watching yourself change and grow a little bit too. Maybe there's something about this September that just feels a little different. And maybe that difference is sacred. So in closing up this episode, I want to say this. Let this moment be enough. Let this be your small, quiet invitation to return to yourself. Make the decision to listen. Listen to this moment of stillness. You are doing more than you think. And if no one has told you yet today, I see you, I respect you, and I am proud of how you keep showing up. So I want to thank you for joining me for episode 9 of Carefully Speaking. I will be back next time with another part of our September series called What the Kids Don't Say, Listening Between the Lines. So until then, folks, may your mornings be smoother, your evenings be quieter, and your boundaries be honored. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon.